Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to SP Reviews, where today we have ourselves a track by an act named Suswal titled Alright Tonight. And if we switch over to here, we have the video for it on YouTube. So that's pretty cool. We're going to listen through this video. We're going to watch the video, listen through the track from start to finish. Gonna hear what we think. Let's go. What do we got? Oh. Okay. Alright. I wasn't expecting this. To be fair, I don't know what I was expecting, but I like the way these guitars are kind of twisting and turning with the drums.
Looking down, you find yourself on a phone in the corner of the room. I look over.
It's really gentle with the sound of those rim shots and his vocals coming in occasionally. I'm liking the fact as well that we're allowing the song to remain open in regards to not having vocals all the time. He allows there to be space to appreciate those additional guitar layers. I enjoy that.
Suddenly we feel connected. It's something we didn't know. Certainly cannot foresee.
You got this kind of ambient country bluesish kind of vibe to this, eh? I'm liking the tone and the quality of the recording. I enjoy his vocal melodies. I enjoy the story that's being told of the two people staring at each other across the room and recognizing each other and trying to forge a connection there.
So I take my place and you'll take yours. You're infinitely silent. Won't you talk to me?
It's a cool video as well. I don't typically talk about the videos during these reviews because I'm not as knowledgeable about video production, despite the fact that the hundreds of these videos by now. I enjoy the colors of it. I enjoy the occasional elements of like the woman dancing in it and the blues and the kind of paper like we're watching a story unfold. I think that's really dope. Nice natural harmonic
Well, I
there.
will stretch out my hand and say hello to you again. What have you been today? Smiling, laughing, and we're catching glimpses, and we talk, but not that way.
Okay, let's just take it's a moment to appreciate we're a third of the way through the song now, and I've been happy with just that original theme that we had there with the guitars, the drums. The bass comes in occasionally, and the bass it's so tight in the mix, but it's not overwhelming. It sits there nicely in between and with those kicks and behaves itself well, and everything's just really nice and friendly.
Was that my mistake?
Oh, nice repeater there. That's fun.
Hoping for a better fate. Or was that our mistake? Give me a signal now. These promises I'll make.
Give me a signal now, these promises I make, I think is what was said there. It was nice to have those hand drums come in that chorus, as well as those higher repeated parts of the vocal melody. I'm not sure if that was an additional overdub or something that was done there. It's charming. You can tell it's a hook. There's a little bit more going on, but it still has that similar kind of vibe that the verse had. It's very friendly sounding, especially with those bass transitions.
It's alright.
Great use of drum fills there as well. The transitions are seamless. It's really cool. I'm liking the fact they've recorded these acoustic drum kits. It's a nice touch.
Look forward to my love, so right. It's alright. Hold me till the daylight. It's alright. Take me to this turn for love. 'Cause this is just my life. It's alright. Was that my mistake? Hoping for a better fate.
Okay, that was cool.
Was that our mistake? Give me a signal now. These promises I'll make.
This kind of lo-fi indie vibe that we're getting going from this. We had some country elements that I thought we had before, but this is more of that kind of chilled out, relaxed mood. It's like you're at a party, the lights are going down a little bit. You're just looking for that signal, man. You're trying to figure out if you're going to be all right tonight. I'm liking the imagery evoked by the lyrics, by the story, by the way the singer sings. Where are we going with this last part?
It's alright. Hold me till the daylight. It's alright. Take me till this turns to love. 'Cause this is just our life. It's alright. It's alright.
Great. I love it. Well done.
It's alright.
Having the hook line at the end to kind of have us end it is a smart move. Helps us to remember it. I don't know if you heard that. That was some hella intricate cymbal work on the drums. They've been pocketing them most of the time. Ooh, they want to play, don't they? Damn, man. And that fade out there, I suppose they were having some fun on the kit and with the, the guitar parts with that lead melody that was modulated. I think they were using a whammy or a tremolo bar to kind of get that tone to it. They were pretty stoic and stable. They didn't really change too much. It's kind of sad. I really enjoyed my time with this song. And it legitimately does not feel like 4.5 minutes has passed, because this is the conclusion. I'm really impressed with the fact that I had time blindness with this track, with All Right Tonight by Suswal. It's not an easy thing to accomplish, like for real. Especially with songs that are outside of that 2 to 4 minute mark. It can be, if you have a weak elements of a song, you're going to be looking at that timer thinking, okay, where are we going with this? What are we going to do to entertain ourselves? And considering that the musical theme was reasonably consistent throughout, aside from a few additional bits of development with additional instrumental layers and some vocal layers in those choruses, save some complexity to the riffs and rhythms and sort of fills later on. You had that similar kind of flow throughout, that similar coloration, texture, and the overall harmonies. There was change with the vocals, but basically I think the story, if we go through the conclusion in a more sort of structured manner, I think that the story was about someone who sees a person at a party or at another side of the room on their phone, and they just wanted to forge a connection. And they're wanting to get close to them, and they're sort of like saying, yo, we can connect, we can be together, it's going to be all right tonight, you don't have to be alone, you don't have to feel vulnerable, you're going to be safe with me. That's what I got from this. Maybe I may have misinterpreted parts of it. But I think I'm kind of on track at the very least. And the structure of the song suited that incredibly well. You had this, this verse chorus structure to it, with some instrumental parts, breaks, and the intro as well being largely instrumental on the outro as well. That helped to just, it kind of fitted what was required of the storytelling, with the verses being the development of the situation, and the chorus being the main message to that person on the other side of the room. The musical motif, as I mentioned, you had you had major and minor triads here that were sort of experimented with the different high melodic elements, but aside from that, it was reasonably consistent throughout. You had like a 2-note chord progression with a bass line that was explorative, and a really interesting lead guitar melody with those other synth elements and stuff. Actually, I don't know if there were synths. It's tricky. I heard guitar, bass, and drums. If we go back a little bit. No, there was a flanger or a phaser on the guitar, but I actually think it was just guitar, bass, and drums, and that's sensational. That's really impressive because it sounded like there was more than that. So we had a minimalist arrangement that sounded huge, and that's something to really appreciate and laud. You know, well done to Suswal for that. Yeah, the instrumental performances, they were raw, they were organic, they were recorded analog, the olden day styles where you had to actually play the drums for the recording. There was like just straight out the gate, this is basically a flawless instrumental performance for me. And I say that despite the fact that, you know, I guess I've been conditioned to hear very, very, very slight bits where the things might be like a 30-second note out or something like that. There were very few occasions where that occurred. I noticed them, but I largely ignored them, and I don't think that affected the quality experience because I appreciate that it was a human playing the kit. While I love my electronic stuff, and while I understand why people time align stuff, I'm just glad that the drummer was able to play. I'm glad we had these more organic performances. I think it's what the song needed. And the instruments, again, you had different functions for each. They stacked well in the stereo field and also in the frequency spectrums. Careful consideration and arrangement of that. And when you combine it with the vocalist, he hasn't really talked about the singing yet. The guy, you know, he has good vocal technique. He knows music theory and composition, knows his scales, and he knows there's a little bit of ornamentation, but it was a more straightforward vocal performance today. I think that the way he sang sometimes sounded like it was calling out to the person, so it was more literal to the experience. Other times he was narrating the story and helping the listener to understand where they were at. I think that these two different ways of approaching it were fantastic, and it sounded like really peaceful, and it sounded like I really hope they got together. That's how emotionally invested I was because of the combination of the vocal performance, plus the instrumental parts and everything else. And the production, the recording, mixing, and mastering was sensational. I think that it sounded like it needed to sound. It sounded like it was recorded live. Well, not recorded live, it was recorded in the studio, but it sounded like it was a nice sort of real human experience there. The instruments sound great in the mix, nice EQing, stereo panning as well, again, as aforementioned. There were interesting effects changes on the guitar parts, and the vocals remained reasonably raw, which I also love. We weren't trying to clean it up too much. We had, a more genuine, authentic vocal experience there, and it was nice and loud without over-compressing or limiting. It was spectacular. So, All Right Tonight by Suswal is an absolute thumbs up from both hands, from both fists. Excellent effort, Suswal. You should be proud of yourself. But this is effectively my review of All Right Tonight by Suswal. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show Suswal some love via their various social medias and their YouTube page. And stay cool and stay safe. And please also remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need to help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I will catch you in the next review. Spiderhands out.